Welcome guys to my first Berserk video. So I did a community tab poll on my channel saying what manga you want me to cover next, apart from the current Kangen, Record of Ragnarok and Bucky content. The manga included Berserk, Vinland Saga and B-Sides, and I had another option. And 50% of the people who voted on that poll voted for Berserk, so here we are with some Berserk greatness. So I thought of what content could I cover for Berserk? I wanted to do characters, so I was like, yes, I'll do characters, but there's one thing I need to cover. There's been 360 chapters for Berserk currently. We're releasing Got chapter 360 like a few weeks ago after like the 7-8 month hiatus or whatever it was. But we finally got chapter 360. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover mostly main characters, mostly major characters. I may get into covering side characters every now and then, but mostly major characters. I'll just go over their history and their skills to pretty much refresh everyone on what they've done throughout the story so we can remember what they're up to, because a 7-month break from a manga is a long time, and some characters haven't had a shine for like years, so I've got to remember some cool stuff about them. And let's start off one of my personal favorite characters, Serpico. If you enjoy Berserk, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to talk more about it, make sure to join my Discord, links in the description. Now, I hope you enjoy. Serpico is a servant and legitimate son of noble Vandimon family who would join Guts traveling alongside his half-sister, Farnes, who doesn't really know that Serpico is her half-brother. His age currently at chapter 360 could be considered in his early 20s, so between 20 and 24 his age is. Now I'll go on to some history stuff involving him. So as I mentioned, he's the legitimate son of Fediro de Vandimon III and a former maid to House Vandimon in the Holy City. Serpico looked after his mother at a young age when she fell ill. During Serpico's fights with other children over food and medicine, from sheer luck, he ended up serving the House of Vandimon at the age of 10 when he was found badly hurt by his not knowing of half-sister Farnes in a valley. Farnes took the youth to be her plaything. In time after learning about Farnes, Serpico developed a deep bond with her. One day, Serpico encountered Federico, who recognized him as his biological son. After noting the boy's locket, Federico did not want to yet another son to pretty much worsen the conflict upon the already struggling and divided up family, giving Serpico nobility status with constant advance in ranks in exchange for keeping their pretty much ties a secret and never telling Farnes while looking after Farnes during his time. So that was the case for about 10 years until Farnes was given command of the group known as the Holy Iron Chain Knights, where Serpico joined as well as, you know, her servant, her bodyguard pretty much. So they pretty much had that whole thing going on until the conviction arc with the 5th solar eclipse occurring and everything that happened there, where Serpico, you know, had that Chad battle against Guts on like the cliff moment where Guts, you know, just grabbed his sword like an absolute Chad. You know, Serpico, he's pretty cool, pretty Chad, but like, you just can't compare it to Guts. Guts just grabs his sword with his like quick ass reflexes and just finesses him on there. But it's good to mention that Guts pretty much admires him or pretty much looks up to his skill, and that he's somewhat like a fox or has tendencies like a fox. It's good to mention prior to all this, the pretty much Holy Knights were searching for Guts for around 2 years, or the person known as the Black Swordsman. They were hearing all rumors in it based on a false truth that he pretty much murdered or butchered a whole village and killed many kids, which was false. But the Holy Knights were searching for Guts during this time, and then that's where all the stuff with the eclipse and the pretty much rise of Griffith again and everything around there happened. And then pretty much with that, Guts pretty much had an effect on Farnes where she wanted to follow him or be part of him, and that she pretty much, her belief in religion started to diminish and that she wanted to be around Guts more. And Serpico was strongly against this, didn't like Guts whatever, and was stated many times that he actually wanted to kill Guts multiple occasions, as we've seen with the many fights they had during their time facing each other, and then during when they were like considered allies as well. But pretty much Farnes pretty much wanted to be with Guts, so Serpico had to accept that and join pretty much Guts' building of a harem, if you want to consider it a harem, whatever you want to say. So they end up traveling with Guts and other people who are also traveling with Guts. They travel there till they get to the pretty much the magic village land with the old lady, where they get pretty much weapons. Serpico gets a new weapon, which is like a wind-based magic weapon, which is pretty cool. Increases his strength tenfold with that weapon. And then during this arc as well, that's where Guts gets his almighty Berserker armor, and then has the fight against some high-ranking apostles and actually against one of the members of God Hand, and the Skull Knight returns, and everything great about that arc. That arc was just fantastic after that. We got some cool stuff from Serpico taking out people with his weapon and then pretty much defending Guts at one point, which is interesting to see, or showing pretty much developing him being closer to Guts and everyone else of his group, not just being there because Farnes wanted to be there. And then a later arc where they pretty much go to the house of Vandemon, or the land that the Vandemon family known, and then Farnes goes back to her father, and then they organize an arranged marriage to gain political power, and because the war's still going on across the world during this time, so arranged marriage to gain political power, so Farnes can get a ship for Guts, so she decides to leave, and of course Serpico is by Farnes' side, and Guts goes in to save her or stop her from doing this, and this is where they have Serpico and Guts have their pretty cool battle inside the chambers before the pillars around. Stay note, this is a battle where pretty much they're going to go head to head in this thing, where Serpico, as he does for previous fights against Guts, sets up the arena to give him the most advantage, or as he mentioned, Guts has faster reflexes, more endurance, more power, and overall better fighter than him, so he needs to set up like ways for him to get an advantage, which is pretty intelligent of him, using his surrounding as an advantage. So he uses all these pillars around so Guts can't just swing his giant sword easily and just take him out. We've had to go through all the pillars, and that's where they had the battle. Good to mention, Guts has the Berserker armor at this point, so if he wanted to, could have put that on, but he didn't. Decided to have a one-on-one battle, and Guts pretty much breezed through Serpico quite easily. He did get one little sword slipped scratch on Guts, but it was pretty one-sided during that fight, showing that Guts, and pretty much he did mention that he did go all out during this fight, but Serpico does note that I'm not even strong enough for him to use that armor against me. But then that's where Guts says pretty much, I did go all out to win this battle, and then and then we have the whole thing with Guts versing the pretty much rogue apostle, the big floating cloud head there, where he pretty much teams up with Zod against that, and then during this time Serpico was just defending everyone else on Guts' side and Farnes, and then they eventually got Farnes back, and then they went on their ship journey where Serpico pretty much took a break. Guts was pretty much injured during that pretty much most of the ship ride until they took out one of those pretty much sea gods or sea creatures, but Serpico did have some shine, taking out some minor people, but as a whole he wasn't really the main focus since he was defeated in battle by Guts at that point. And then we cut to pretty much after they get off the ship, which is more recent, where they get to the land of the elves and witches and everyone else there to help get Custer's memories back and mind back and everything there. And that's where we got recently in last few chapters, we got a pretty much cool scene with Serpico and Guts saying how I wanted to kill you many times, but I've grown to like you, and that I've become like more relaxed around everyone here, and I'm enjoying myself, and that I'm glad that that you have changed Farnes. At first he hated Guts for pretty much taking Farnes away from her pretty much real duties, but as time's gone on, he thanks Guts for everything he's done, and that's where we are currently in the manga. Now I'll talk about some of his abilities. So Serpico, a very skilled fencer-based sword weapon. That's what he's very skilled at using. In Guts' pretty much group, he's second behind Guts in terms of swordsmanship. Farnes stats they could even defeat nobles in fencing with one hand behind his back. Apart from his pretty much sword skill, one of his biggest pretty much physical abilities that brings him above many people is his tactic. Serpico has a pretty much acting docile and confident and pretty much not really know what's going on. He had this an act, so pretty much his enemies drop their guard around him. In truth, he is neither and is rather intelligent, and people will drop their guard around him. He acts fast and uses swift attacks to end the battle as quick as possible, pretty much grabbing anything he can, as shown with the fight on the cliffs where he thought he had bested Guts by fighting Guts on a cliff with his big sword, and then once realizing that Guts actually caught his blade and snapped it, he realized the only way he could do was just escape, so he jumped down on the rock, flipped back, threw a bomb to pretty much escape like that. And then everything else where he's always battles with Guts had happened, where he set up arenas to beat Guts, but Guts is, just too Chad, can get around that. But just everything go into his tactics, then fighting against apostles with Guts alongside Guts all this time has grown his strength immensely. He's also shown and stated to be a pretty good cook, shown cooking for the group in many occasions during this time. And now onto his equipment that he uses. So he was given a pretty much sylph-based sword, which is the wind sword. Sword was given him by Shika along with the wind cloak. This sword can cut down trolls or any other irregular size or regular base but irregular enemies by sending wind. He can send more than one wave to dispose of many enemies. However, even under full moon, which is said to increase the power of the weapon magic, it is not able to cut many of the upper class apostles or stuff of like higher class monster. And then the sylph cloak, the same origin or properties of the wind sword. It makes his light body more pretty much faster. His jumping height increases tenfold, and mobility increase, everything like that, and he can summon strong winds to deflect attacks and projectiles away from him, and he also uses it as a pretty much increasing his sword strength during battle by like increasing both wind attributes together and all that, making him a fast slaying beast. And that's pretty much everything we have for Serpico in today's video. Let me know what character you want me to cover next in my Berserk videos. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and let me know how I can improve the videos down in the comments as well. Do you like Serpico as a character? Let me know your thoughts of his character. And if you want to talk more about Berserk's greatness, make sure to join my Discord. And that's it guys, peace.